Today I want to continue talking about our sort of Navy SEAL success strategies. Remember, there was arousal control or awareness and an observational self. There was challenging false beliefs and mental rehearsal, doing things in bite-sized steps, and then being willing to feel. Today I want to talk about mental rehearsal. Sometimes people call this visualization, but it doesn't have to be in visual images. It could be in a lot of different ways. This is really preparing yourself for success, and I can't emphasize enough. I have a bunch of little rules for life, if you will, that I've found to be very helpful. And one of them is you get more of what you focus on. When I was in college, I lived in a place that had some world-class mountain biking trails, and you would go down these mountains, and what happened was there would be ruts that would develop in some of these places. Well, if you've done any of this or ridden motorcycles or something like that, if you get your front tire in one of those ruts, the likely outcome is you will make it to the bottom of the mountain separated from your bicycle. Your bike and you will come down separately. That's usually not a good plan. So what I was coached to do was to point your eyes on where you wanted your tire to go. Don't look at the rut, but look at where you want to go. And I can't emphasize how important that is when you're trying to make changes, particularly in limbic takeover types of things. So if you're trying to not feel anxious, you're going to feel more anxious. If you're trying to not watch pornography or not have sexual feelings, you are going to be thinking about them, right? You can't not think about something without thinking about it first. So it will, when you try to not do something, I find that that's like saying, I don't like where I'm at, so I'm just going to leave. Well, what kind of plan is that? That may not get you in a better place. It may get you wandering. What usually happens when we kind of follow those patterns is we end up back where we started because we had no plan of where we were going. So we want to kind of have a point in mind, a place in mind. So let's say, let's apply this to unwanted sexual behavior, such as viewing pornography or any other kind of unwanted sexual behavior. Well, what would you replace that with? Right? Keep in mind, sexual desire, sex is something God gave us. It's a beautiful thing, but the world and our enemy of our soul has perverted it into something. And we're being cheated out of something that God gave us that is so much better than what the world tells you it is. And so we want to replace it with healthy sexual behavior, healthy sexual thoughts. It's really, right, that's reserved for our spouse. And if you're a single person, it's reserved for you and your future spouse. So we want to have a way when we're tempted, right? When we're tempted, it's something coming and hitting our limbic system. And that limbic system is going to say, you've got to have that or you're going to die. Or it's going to say, you got to get away from something or you're going to die, right? Fear activator, or that reinforcement pathway, the addiction pathway, if you will. So what we want to do is see ourselves coming to points. Early on in my career, when I was working with clients, I figured out that everybody has critical moments where they'd really like to respond in a different way. And we would do all kinds of things in therapy that I learned in school, and they were great in the office and great in minor situations, but the big critical moments, they seem to always fall apart. And I didn't understand the neurobiology. That's why I'm emphasizing this so much. So, again, you get more of what you focus on. You can think about this. Another way to think about it is baseball. My friend was telling me one time his son, who was a really good ball player, got in a rut where he was striking out. And he struck out. They had a game. He was up to bat. He struck out. He didn't make contact at all. And he came to his dad, and he was really frustrated. He's like, Dad, I'm trying so hard not to strike out. And his dad said, that's your problem. You're trying not to strike out. Get up there, go in, and he told him to visualize himself. He said, start thinking about hitting the ball. Think about what you want to do, not what you don't want to do. So you got to have a plan of what you want to do. and we can talk in other videos, and we'll probably have that in other sections here. What might you do? And that's a good place to work with your therapist, your pastor, if you got somebody that you're using for accountability, mentor, whatever. Come up with a plan of what are you going to do in these critical moments. A big key to success is to visualize yourself making it through. One of the big things people used to come to me with is public speaking, getting nervous with public speaking. And I used to get anxiety public speaking. And I found I would try to visualize, somebody told me to visualize yourself being totally calm and relaxed as you walk up to the podium. And I'd do that, and I'd practice, and I'd do some relaxation exercises or whatever. And I'd be like, I got this, I got this. Then I would have a class or whatever. I'd be asked to speak somewhere, and I'd go up, and I would be totally anxious, knots in the gut. And I figured out that didn't work very well. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, why don't I visualize myself in the hard situation? When the fear comes on, when I'm feeling anxiety, and I began to write stuff down. By the way, that's a good thing to do too. Have a little tool, have some things, reminders of what you want to do, messages to yourself. Hey, you knew you were going to be here. This is what you need to do. I would write them on the margins of my paper that I was speaking from, but I would spend the time before that visualizing myself. I began to visualize myself feeling anxious and being able to speak anyway. What would I do? Look people in the eye, breathe, slow down, because I tended to talk really fast when I was anxious. And so I would just remember to do those things. And I would visualize myself feeling totally overwhelmed with fear and doing those things anyway. So one of the ways you can come up with a plan is think about the next time you're going to be tempted. What do you want to say? You're going to look back at it. What do you want to say you did when you were tempted? How do you want to talk about yourself? What do you want to look back at, and what's the success? So have a success plan and see yourself carrying it out no matter how bad you feel. I'm going to close with this. I've done a lot of metaphors and examples here, but so people a lot of times will come and say they want to quit smoking. And they want to know from the psychologist, how do I quit smoking? I go, I can tell you that. It's really easy. You make up your mind that no matter how bad you feel, and we'll use this in a subsequent video when we talk about willingness to feel, but no matter how bad you feel, you're never going to put one in your mouth again. That's it. That's really all there is to it, right? So, but you got to visualize yourself when the nicotine withdrawals come. How are the pain of saying no to the cigarette? What are you going to do instead? Maybe you're going to get a mint and you're going to chew on a mint or some gum and so see yourself being successful. So visualize yourself carrying out your plan of success when the times are the hardest to do so. God bless you. We'll see you in the next video.